Fubo, first off, okay, stock's making a massive move. 5-day up nearly 29% in regards to this one, okay? So you might have heard the news out there, okay? This came out on September 1st that basically Spectrum cable subscribers, which is owned by this company named Charter Communications, right? Between Charter and Disney, the relationship's broken up, and they're trying to negotiate some new terms and whatever, and it's been going really bad. And so this Charter company is usually like the second biggest cable company in the United States of America. Now, if you have that cable service, you have no ESPN right now, you have no Disney channels or anything like that. And if you're a sports fan, like ESPN's a must because they own so many different networks. It's ridiculous in the sports world, like especially if you're like a college football fan and college football season just kicked off, okay? So this is obviously horrible news for the customers of that company, right? And honestly, it's bad news for Disney as well. And it's bad news for Charter Communications. Everybody loses in this situation except really like two specific companies. One is YouTube TV and the other is Fubo. Those are the only two companies that are really benefiting from this situation. But this is kind of where I thought things kind of stopped here. Was just like, oh, cool. Like, you know, this is just going to mean a bunch more extra people are going to sign up for Fubo this fall that weren't going to previously do it. But this is going to get supercharged, okay? Because I found something that's absolutely insane in regards to this situation that I'm about to show with you. Now, if you notice this, right? Massive bump up right when college football games were getting ready to start. This is Google Trends data for Fubo. As soon as college football games were getting ready to start, boom, Google Trends data goes absolutely insane for Fubo, which is something you consistently see. Whenever there's a big sporting event about to happen, Fubo sees a massive epic spike up. And the great news with Fubo is they do a great job of keeping all those customers, or a huge portion of those customers that sign up for the service, right? Now, things get way crazier from here, okay? This is way more shocking when you go down the rabbit hole. So Spectrum Cable TV teams up with Fubo to offer a discounted rate on Fubo. What? Yes. Spectrum Cable sent their customers an email that they can basically receive Fubo and get a 30% discount on Fubo. This is crazy, folks. Absolutely crazy. I never saw this one coming. What? Like, why in the world, even if, let's say, Fubo's giving them some sort of kickback, why in the world would Spectrum go out of their way to email all their customers and tell them, hey guys, here's 30% off, go sign up for Fubo? That's insane, unless Spectrum was planning on making some sort of, purchase of Fubo shares or stock or something like that. That's insane. It's just like giving your customers away. This is absolutely insane. And so I was going on Twitter, which is now called X, and I was just looking and trying to see what people were talking about here. This is crazy, right? This person posts, thank you, Spectrum, for dropping Disney and forcing me to try Fubo TV. I actually love it and would have never tried it. Had you kept Disney, can't wait to cancel Spectrum. Like, usually people don't really like cable companies very much, right? Usually for cable companies, you get locked into these massive contracts, and versus like the new age, right? Netflix, Fubo, all this type of stuff. You can sign up. If you want to cancel for any reason, you can cancel. It's easy. It's not complicated. Whereas, the cable companies, the satellite companies, they've always been, companies that people hate, for the most part. Now, in regards to Fubo, right? The only bad thing you can really say about Fubo, profitability. The company's still not profitable. Probably not going to be profitable in 2024. There's a potential they could have a quarter of profitability in 2024, but profitability likely coming in 2025, okay? So that's the bad thing with Fubo, that if you're on this train, right, you're going to have to deal with the fact that profitability is not there right now. And you're going to have to just deal with that, I guess you can say, right? The great news is the company has a massive cash load, and the great news is Fubo should have money pouring in over these coming quarters. And so that should certainly help the situation. And if Fubo attracts way more customers than they had anticipated, that could help the company get to profitability much faster than they had anticipated, because the company had, in my opinion, actually relatively conservative numbers, and I think they're going to probably blow those numbers away. So the profitability story has been improving. It should continue to improve, but, it is the one negative. But there's really nothing else you can say negative about Fubo. They got all the channels you really need, other than maybe TNT for basketball season. They got all the channels you need. They've got the marketing down. They've got the product, right? They've certainly obviously got the relationships to have this Spectrum deal go through, which is just shocking to me. And so they keep their customers around, and their LTV is ridiculous, right? So when I look at Fubo, it's got everything except the profitability right now. If they get that, there's nothing bad you can say about Fubo anymore at that point in time. You got nothing, okay? So we'll see what happens, but yeah, man, it's quite an interesting situation nonetheless, okay? Growth stocks got wrecked last year. Tech stocks got wrecked last year. The NASDAQ got wrecked last year. We all know that, right? It seemed like every time you thought, okay, this has to be the bottom. Like, these stocks have to bottom. It just went lower and lower and lower. And that was consistent throughout, in basically up until about mid-October. And we finally bottomed out the market around October, beginning of November. But it's just like every time it started to come back, it ended up lower and lower and lower until you just are like, when's the pain end? Like, when's the pain end in these growth stocks? And the moves specifically in these stocks was unbelievable. I mean, it's just simply unbelievable that you're like, are all these stocks going to zero? Like, this is incredible, right? You look at a stock like NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA in 2021, $325 plus stock, right? It starts to fall. You're like, oh, it's coming back. And then it falls more. And then it falls more. By the time it was said and done, NVIDIA was like $110, $111 a share. It had fallen 60% or so. I mean, absolutely insane to think about how far NVIDIA fell, right? And now the only thing that falls in regards to NVIDIA is people falling over themselves to buy NVIDIA stock because the stock's $500 here today, right? I mean, it's absolutely incredible how far that stock really fell in that situation, right? Tesla, my Esla, known as one of the best growth stocks, certainly in the entire stock market, right? Look at the fall of Tesla from $400 plus, going, kind of into the end of 2021. And then every time you thought, oh, Tesla's coming back, it just goes lower and lower and lower until it finally bottoms at the beginning of this year, end of last year, at just over $100 a share, right? For one of the greatest, NVIDIA and Tesla are they're the kings and queens. Let's just call it what it is. This is a king and the queen of growth stocks in the stock market. NVIDIA and Tesla, they're the king and the queen. And those stocks literally people would sell them at any price. I mean, from $400 to $100, you got to be flipping my flapjacks. Look at a stock like Meta, right? Certainly one of the greatest growth stocks of the past 10 plus years in the stock market, right? In Meta, $380. And then every time you think Meta has to come back, it goes lower and lower and lower. People refuse to buy Meta even when it was under $100. Oh, it's going to $50. It's going to $40, right? Just like people were refusing to buy Tesla when it was $100. Oh, it's going to $60. It's going to $50. I remember that, okay? This is what was going on. People are getting completely delusional in regards to these stocks. They're all going to zero. Yeah, Meta, Tesla, NVIDIA, they're all going to zero. They're all going to zero. Delusion, pure delusion. You were selling Meta for anything less than $250? Delusional. You were selling Meta for less than $100? You don't have a brain, okay? That's as simple as that. You literally don't have a brain. Palantir, right? Palantir 2021, late 2021, stock's $27, and it just falls and falls. And every time you think, oh, this has to be the bottom on Palantir, it's never the bottom. And the stock finally actually bottomed at $5 to $6 a share. In the $5 to $6 range, you could always conceive of a possibility of like Palantir falling in the $10 to $15 range, but $5, $6? What are we talking about here for Palantir? Are you kidding me? I mean, with one of the most pristine balance sheets in all of the world, like, what are we talking about here? Government contracts and commercial contracts? Like, oh my gosh, right? And for those of us that got to take advantage of that, man, did we take advantage of that, right? Now we're sitting on a $319,000 gain on Meta, a 143% gain, right? Palantir sitting on a $35,000 gain, a 71% move up there. Tesla, my Tesla, I hadn't bought Tesla shares in years. And I actually started buying Tesla shares again at the very end of last year and into the beginning of this year. Because I'm like, you're going to give me Tesla for $100, a little over $100? Okay. If you want to give me free money, I guess I'll take free money. Like, okay. Like, this is beautiful, right? And sitting on a 99% gain on those shares, 133% gain, a $20,000 gain, just the shares I bought at the beginning of this year, right? When you get these sorts of opportunities, you've got to pounce on these opportunities because they don't come around very often. There's only a few time periods, and I'll show you actually the few time periods in my past 15 years where dividend stocks were actually cheap. Same thing with growth stocks. Growth stocks are very rarely cheap. When you get one of those opportunities where people are acting delusional and they're selling these stocks at any price and nothing matters, you need to take advantage of that. And this is what's going on in dividend stocks currently. People no longer have a brain in regards to dividend stocks. They're selling these stocks at any price. It doesn't matter the PE ratio. It doesn't matter the business. It doesn't matter anything. They're selling these stocks at any price, and now's the time, okay?